but like it's still really stupid, from the giant baby mascot that the college has to the very stereotypical story beats like an escaped killer. Like, not taking this movie seriously is the way to go, because it's fun.
You relive the same day over and over again. Kind of start to see who you really are.
It's insane, right?
Art the Clown.
I'm something different.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to another Modern Horror Movie Talk. I'm, of course, your host, Tyler Nichols, and we've got Mike Conway joining us for another one. Mike, how you doing?
I'm awesome, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, pretty good. The subject that we're talking about today has actually been in the news a little bit lately because the director has just been announced as directing Scream 7. So I figured that this would be a good one. You requested it, and it's like, yep, that's perfect. Perfect timing. So we're going to get into some Happy Death Day. So did you see this one in theaters?
I did not see this one in theaters. The trailer looks really, really, really corny to me. And the use of the 50 Cent song.
Stop global warming.
Plus Blumhouse at the time, I wasn't digging any of their films.
Yeah.
But I finally caught it whenever it came on VOD, and it surprised the hell out of me. It was so much fun. It's funny. There are some scares in there, but it's relatively just a good time. Like, it just proves that PG-13 can be good for a horror movie if you do it correctly. Yeah,
and I feel like I have the need to say right at the top that this movie is very stupid, like very, very dumb. I'm gonna say things like, "Oh, it's this is smart and entertaining," but like it's still really stupid. From the giant baby mascot that the college has to the very stereotypical story beats like an escaped killer. Like, not taking this movie seriously is the way to go, because it's fun. Because I mean, the concept, for those that don't know, it's essentially Groundhog Day, where this girl is reliving the same day over and over, and she's getting murdered by some mysterious person that she's then trying to figure out who it is. And I don't know about you, but I'm a huge Groundhog Day fan, so the idea of a Groundhog Day style movie, because they did this before. Was it a Masters of Horror episode where it had this groundhog concept?
It's been a while since I've seen those episodes, but I did see Groundhog Day in the theaters.
Oh.
And that just shows how old I am. And I'm showing my age with my little gray beard. And
Look, I know our viewers might think that it's a whole different person. This is not Tom Segura talking to us right now. This is still Mike.
Oh.
But no, there's a lot with this movie where like Tree, which by the way is such a stupid name. What, like,
dumb name?
Is it like short for something? Like, I don't
know. I was actually, before we got on here, I was like, Tree has to be short for something. I couldn't find it anywhere. I went on IMDb, everything. It just said Tree. I was like, all right.
Same. I was hoping there'd be some kind of like extra info, because I'm like, I've looked up and I don't know anyone with this nickname. I don't know anyone where it's like a shortened version of a name. So that alone is, I don't know, it's just strange. But Jessica Roth is fantastic as Tree. Like, she's so good. This is such a hard role because she goes from so bitchy to pretty damn likable. And I think that like one of the reasons that the movie works so well is because, I don't know about you, but I was rooting for her to die in the first half. She's so just like such a bitch and so like grating, where then I'm like, yeah, let's see this happen. Where then as it goes along, and I think it's almost like catharsism for the audience, where they're like, you know, getting to see this person die over and over. So then it kind of can warm you up to her a bit. But then she also kind of recognizes her ways and kind of just notices essentially how she was acting before was not the way to act. And I liked that. She had a little bit of a character arc.
Yeah, I mean, she's a great actress. I wish I would see her in more things. Before this, I haven't really seen her in anything, and I didn't really see anything after that besides the second one. I totally skipped Valley Girl. I thought that was a pointless remake. You know.
Yeah, she's been kind of doing the rom-com circuit, so I don't know.
But she does have that Boy Kills World movie that's coming out, which I'm
there we go.
Looking forward to. Yeah,
I'm glad she's getting back into horror, because I think that's probably her bread and butter, even if she might not realize it yet. Like, just her performance is really, really good, and where I was curious as to certain things, where there's a whole through line with her dad and also technically her mom, where a lesser actress would have not been able to handle that kind of stuff. And I think she pulls it off really well. And I think that one of the main things that I have to commend her for is the repeated days. Like, she full on nails the repeated performance, just steadily changing, steadily noticing different things, and just very, very impressive with her. Like, she is the most impressive part of the movie, just watching her and how she interacts with things.
Yeah, especially the montage scene where it just shows like the repeated deaths and her coming back, and like the way she handled that's comedy gold in some of those moments.
Yeah, and you had mentioned too of how the PG-13 rating is like, because I know when I saw it, I did not see this in theaters, and it was because of the PG-13 rating. I was like, no, thank you. But they pull it off really well. It's, even though it's PG-13, they do still go pretty hard with, like, if it had just gone like 2 seconds longer for a shot, it would have been very, very violent. Which we got to see a little bit of that in Freaky, because Freaky was actually rated R, so it got to be pushed a little further. But also, it's one of my big things where I don't really know if I trust Christopher Landon with a Scream movie, because I don't know. The kills are a little too CGI in Freaky, and the kills here, since they cut, I'm just like...
I gotcha. I mean, every single movie I've seen of his, I really dug a lot, especially... surprisingly, the paranormal activity, the Mark ones. I think it's the first one that he directed. He wrote the other ones before that one.
I hate those movies so much.
Yeah, I don't like them at all. I did like part 3. Part 3 was a lot of fun, just because of the 80s aspect.
That's the one with Catherine Newton, or is that a different one? I know she's in one of them. What do you think of I guess how they set up? Because I mean, you're a filmmaker too, so. One thing that I really like about the repeated days are he does it with sound cues. There's the bell in the distance, and then it's the "It's your birthday." That stupid song. Essentially just automatically gets you conditioned to so much about the days where you don't even need to be told, because there's boom, spoilers. We're getting into spoilers right now.
Yeah, go for it.
Because there's plenty there's a lot in this movie that I feel like it would be silly to spoil for someone. Just make sure you're watching this without essentially before the deaths start. You're not wanting to know anything after that point, because there's just so much fun. But there are these little moments that, like, especially once it gets towards the end, where once you think that Tree has defeated the killer and stopped the loop, then all it takes, it's black, and then you just hear the bell in the distance, and that's all it takes for you to just then be like, motherfucker, it didn't work. And then you get to then see her reaction to it, but you already know of like, yep, this is what's happening. And then they do another fun little tease where the new boyfriend, he's essentially plays her song like to trick her into it, where it's like, yeah, because we heard the bell, we heard the song, so you like are like, oh no, it happened again, that kind of stuff. That's why I say, from a directing standpoint, I like what he did, because there's a lot of like small little signifiers that do a lot of the heavy lifting, which in a movie like this, you need that, because otherwise it's just so much exposition. It's old.
Yeah, I mean, it is essentially like Groundhog Day, like we already mentioned, like with the "I Got You, Babe" being played throughout, and then finally on his last day, it's still "I Got You, Babe," but it's a different part of the song. So that's kind of like how it was there. And I actually liked how they even said, "Hey, this is kind of like Groundhog Day."
Yeah. I always like, because I mean, we're in like culture in general now. Movies are just so ingrained where I think it's strange when characters don't reference like, oh, this is just like that, or just like this, or this. Because even the new Flash movie, they mention Back to the Future, where it's like, yeah, because that's people's frame of reference for time travel. So like, yeah, that should be mentioned. That little things like that, I think, really go a long way, where like, yeah, this is Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day needs to be mentioned.
They did the same thing in the second one too.
Yeah, which, so I will say, goes we're never going to do a follow-up covering the second one, so we'll just talk briefly about the second one here. I don't like the explanation for the time loop in the second one. They do this whole thing where it's essentially a experiment. The what's his name's the lead guy's roommate.
Ryan.
Yeah, so Ryan, he has this like group of scientist buddies that they are the reason that started the time loop. It's a stupid series. It's very stupid, but that's why you just have to check your brain at the door and just have fun. Because I mean, just like the killer thing is really stupid, and I think it brings the movie down a bit. But it's dumb fun. As when I say the killer, I mean the escaped killer. Obviously, we have another killer.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing I liked. I liked the fact that the whole time we thought it was this escaped killer from a hospital, and it turns out to be her roommate.
I like the Ruby Modine twist. And I was actually, I interviewed Ruby and was able to tell her what a Happy Death Day fan I was. And she was very excited about it.
That's awesome.
Because it sounds like she's a big fan of the movies as well. And so if we ever get a third one, I think for sure she's going to be back. I think that because he's talked about it so much, where if Scream 7 does well, he'll use his pull to then get that made. I almost guarantee. He's brought it up so many times. Like I almost guarantee that's going to happen. But
yeah, I mean, I feel like those movies did pretty well. I'm not sure about the second one. I think Freaky did pretty well.
Yeah, well, Freaky had came out during COVID, and
yeah, that's right.
But did you notice too? They even do a little 16 Candles homage at the end with Carter and Tree.
Yeah,
that was nice.
Yeah, I mean the whole thing, man. I loved every single second of it. I don't get tired of it, even though I know how it's gonna end every single time I watch it. Even the twist doesn't bother me. Everything is great. I mean, I showed it to my kid. He loved it.
Yeah, I just wish it was a little smarter. There was some stuff where it goes a little too on the nose, like the gay dude, the gay friend, like the guy who's pursuing her turns out to be gay. There's just so many things where I'm just like, this feels so just like generic, and I wish that it was just a little bit smarter. But I think they probably do that to make Tree like neglectful of a guy, but like make it so it's not something where she still has a connection with him when she moves on to Carter. I don't know. It just felt very odd. It didn't make a whole lot of sense, where it's just like, it kind of just felt like they were kind of checking boxes.
Yeah.
Same too with the evil roommates. And her sleeping with her professor, and like there's just a lot of very silly elements that you said that you just have fun with it every time. I have fun with it. However, I like the pacing. This time I noticed the pacing, especially once they reach the hospital. I think that just it hits a wall, where then I'm just like, you're kind of waiting, or then it kind of like plateaus for a bit. And then by the time that the roommate twist is revealed, which I do like the reveal, because it's like almost like you can see the realization hit Tree, but it's just such a start and stop in terms of pacing. Again, I only noticed it this time, where I was just like, ooh, I think just with a few editing changes, it could have been a little smoother, because there's just a lot of, oh, this is the reveal. Oh, no, that's not it. Oh, this is the reveal. Oh, no, that's not. Or then it's like, okay, if you're going to do that's a reveal, you got to go like halfway. That way, when the big reveal happens, it like is more impactful. That's kind of how I looked at it this time. I don't know. It's, again, I still like the movie. Like, it's just, those things stood out to me more.
One thing that I really, really liked about this one, they also did in the second one, but had more dramatic effect to me, was the loss of a parent. And I noticed that was something that's kind of frequent in Christopher Landon's movies, because maybe his dad.
Yeah.
But the second one, whenever she gets to see her mom again, that's just like something that like kind of hits home a little bit. So that's one thing, like her performance whenever she sees her mom again. I thought that was just wonderful.
Yeah, the mom stuff, and especially in the second one, it's very they do this whole thing where it's like an alternate reality, where then Tree's mom is still there, but then it's her essentially coming to the conclusion of like, yes, she's here, but I'm not her Tree. I'm like, I don't have these memories. And it's like, that is one of like the deepest moments that they get in the whole like film, and it is such like shockingly deep, especially because the second one is, I don't know, it's just a lot sillier and dumber than this one. They go much more science-y, which whenever you try to explain and go science-y, it just kind of gets a little sillier. And so the fact that there is something that's such an emotional anchor, it is very, very surprising that they do it and they both pull it off and pull it off well, because it could have very easily came across as like corny.
Yeah, like you said, you wish it was a little bit smarter. I think in the second one, there are some things that are a little bit smarter that kind of makes up for the dumbness of the first one. Even though the second one is, well, you know, it's dumb
great. In a different kind. Yeah, it's dumb in a different kind of way. I feel like that's kind of the issue, is that they're like they have different strengths, but I would say the flaws in the second one are definitely more like bigger than the flaws in the second one. I know a ton of people that like the first one and hate the second one. So it's like, and I would still consider them very similar and almost companion films. Yeah. So it just kind of shows of how polarizing those kinds of movies can be. But I also think PG-13 horror is just, it's polarizing for the genre. I hate PG-13 horror. I get it. Very rarely does it work. However, for a movie, the reason that PG-13 horror works in this one is because the whole concept is the day resets when she's killed. So it would make sense for the moment she's killed, for it to reset. Obviously, people don't die that quickly, but for a movie, like, it makes sense. Whereas in another film where I'm like, well, shit, they just cut away and I didn't get to see it. Like, I wanted to see that gore and mayhem now, but with this, there's a reason for it. So I like that aspect is really good.
What would your favorite kill be from this one?
I really like the bong getting broken and shoved down her throat. At least, I mean, see, and I even say down her throat, where it's like, that's my imagination doing that, because that's from other things. And it's like, it's in the same place where it's like, I assume. What about you?
Mm-hmm. The part where you think she's actually going to get away and she gets stopped by the police officer. Yeah, that part I thought was pretty great. And then see him getting taken out, and then I think the car explodes.
Yeah, that whole thing is really good, because they essentially, I mean, even when she gets pulled over and you can like see the light bulb moment in her head. And I mean, as the viewer, I'm thinking the same thing, where it's like, oh, yeah, get yourself arrested. You're good to go. And she even says, she's like, I'm on drugs. I'm on meth, coke, I'm all of them, all of the drugs. And the cop is just like,
well, then I'm going to put you under arrest.
It's like, yeah, you probably should. And then like right when she gets into the back car, gets boom, the car guy gets hit. Like, that stuff is cool, and it makes an impact. Like, those moments, that's one of the few times where someone gets killed and it's not immediately cutting to something. So it needs to hit, and it does really well. So one aspect that I think is a flaw with the whole Ruby Modine reveal is that is not Ruby throughout the movie. That is a guy.
Oh yeah, obviously guy.
Like, it wouldn't surprise me if the guy that they reveal to be the serial killer guy, if that was the stunt man that like did all the stuff, because he had like the same build. But there was many times where I'm just like, okay, this is man strength. I get that she's a nurse, but come on. Like, she's also like 6'2" or something crazy. Like, she's super tall. I'm not sure if you noticed, they hide it a lot in this. They do it with she'll be like sitting, or they do a lot of stuff with perspective. So I remember when I saw I think it might have been a picture from the premiere, and she is just like so much taller than everybody else. Where then it's like, well, if you have a killer that's that much taller, then it's like, oh, well, it's the roommate, obviously. Which, by the way, when I say Ruby Modine, that's Matthew Modine's daughter. I had no idea. Yes.
I know I did. That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't know until interviewing her, and then I was like, I like clicked the two things click where I'm like, oh my God. So what would you rate Happy Death Day? Actually, we'll rate both movies. May as well.
Sure. Go for it. Let's see. Happy Death Day. It's a great movie. Had a great time with it. Does exactly what it needs to do. I'd give it an 8. Happy Death Day 2, I think, is still an equally fun movie, like in different ways. It's more of a science fiction than horror. So I would probably give that one 7. Today, I'd give it a 7.
Yeah, I'm kind of similar. I would the first Happy Death Day, again, I have a lot of fun with it. There's just minor things that just annoy me that I can't not see. That's just I guess how my brain works. I think I'm more forgiving of stuff when it's not modern. I like just see the flaws when it's moderate. I don't know why. But yeah, I do have a 7. I think when I saw it, I liked it so much I probably gave it an 8. But yeah, I think I would settle at about a 7. I think that Christopher Landon does a really good job. I think the editing alone is really well done. And if anytime you're dealing with a time travel, time loop story where it actually kind of makes sense that's awesome. Like I'm totally down for whatever kind of logic you give me. I'm like, yep, I'll buy into it as long as it makes some sort of sense. And this seemed to make sense. And even though the first one they don't fully, I think the reason I like it and the reason that I have had issues with it since is because then the second one, like I know where it goes, so that I'm like, motherfuckers. Though it does make me like other things, like the whole interaction with her dad. Like all I think of is then the mom stuff from 2, which makes me like the stuff with the dad more. Like there's just little things. And also one thing I got to bring up that bugs the fuck out of me. Why does her phone have a "it's your birthday" like on her birthday? Did she set that the day before? When she was drunk off her fucking ass?
Well, before she was that type of person, I'm pretty sure she would be the type who would actually do that. Another thing to bring up the second one, I thought it was really clever how they explained the power outages in the first one that would happen at this exact moment.
Yeah, I noticed too. They had the little power outage mention, and I think even Christopher Landon had said like, "Oh yeah, we had that stuff in there on purpose, so that then if we got a sequel, we could explain." So they definitely thought this stuff through. But again, I'm the type of person that a lot of the time the mystery is more intriguing. I don't need the explanation. Sometimes the explanation's fun, but for that one, I'm like, but I do like, I wish that the first, the first act is more of what we got, where it's more follows Ryan, because it does essentially just become the Tree Show again at a certain point, where it's like, I was hoping it would kind of go from, same day, different person's perspective, but then it's still Tree. So it's like that again. So I would probably settle on probably a 6. Probably a 6. 5 if I'm not feeling 5 if I'm feeling froggy, because again, 5 is a C student. That is average. Because remember, I always have to remind those guys, because it's like, no, we are not in school where a C student would be considered a 70. It's like, no, right down the middle, 5.
No, I like your number system there.
I always have to reiterate because I always get people getting mad at me when I give away a 5 or a 6.
Nah, man, 5, 6 is good. Once you get below that, I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, I feel like an average movie is fine, and just like 2, if these were dog shit, and it's like, yeah, I give it a 3. It's like I still watch 3s. Like 3s are fun. I like watching a bad movie. Hell, I do the Awfully Good Show on our channel. Like I love me a bad movie. So thank you so much for joining me. I think we pretty much have covered a Happy Death Day. We'll see if we ever get a Happy Death Day 3. I think the chances are good after Scream 7 comes out that he'll use his sway to have it happen. I've got a good feeling about that. But
yeah, same here. I liked his last movie, We Have a Ghost too. That one I had a great time with. I don't know if you watched it or not.
I did. I think it needed about 25 minutes trimmed from it.
Trimmed? Okay. Gotcha.
It was very, very long. But yeah, it had that Amblin style. But I forgot that he did that. That makes me more worried about Scream 7.
Oh no.
Oh no. Okay, well, I guess we'll see. I don't know. I just did a Scream 5 video, so I'm very in the weeds with Scream right now. So I'm just like, all I'm thinking is how someone can mess it up. But I'm a pessimist. I need to get over that.
Landon, I'm pulling for you, man. So
yeah, here's hoping he does well. We'll see. But thank you so much for joining, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Let me know what you thought of Happy Death Day 1 and 2, and what you think of Christopher Landon directing Scream 7. Are you not looking forward to it like me, or are you more optimistic like Mike? Let me know. We'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Later, guys.